out of the past.
Okay, and away we go. Good afternoon, folks, and welcome to Smudcast number 884. American Godzilla is about Godzilla, but the Japanese Godzilla is about life. This is a video essay from Accented Cinema. This came out this year in March. I think it's because of the popularity of Minus One from last year, I guess.
Well, yeah, Minus One came out, and then Legendary had their movie coming out right after, so there was like a lot of Godzilla discussion within like 6 months.
So, a revitalization of the genre, or at least of the series, and maybe it was a combination of Americanization or the American style of cinematography and storytelling of Godzilla as opposed to the Japanese style. Maybe it's an amalgamation of the two. Maybe the critic is going to look at both from over the years and how the focus is on the community and man versus nature, or instead of man versus individual force of nature, depending on how you characterize that. So I'm not sure. I'm not a Godzilla guy, but I can appreciate the genre of, what is it called?
Kaiju.
Is it kaiju or is it like destruction sort of?
Godzilla's done it all.
Yeah.
I haven't seen every single one. I've seen 30 out of the now 40. I still haven't seen
Damn.
Shin Godzilla, but I have a good
Oh, that one's
idea
great.
of what it's about. They're re-releasing it too. Now I really want to, in theaters. So now I really want to take an opportunity to see that. But
Have you seen Godzilla versus Space Godzilla versus Mecha Godzilla 2?
I've seen Space Godzilla. I need to get Mechagodzilla 2. There's
See?
actually a few of the Heisei I haven't seen.
Saw that accidentally once. I was like, oh man, that is an amazing title.
All right.
With a Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, giant monsters all out attack. That's an amazing title.
Jeez. Well, this, as I said, it came out this year. It's almost 100,000 views and is 11 minutes and a half long. Should not take too long to go through. I've never heard of this dude. Sounds like it could be pretentious if you're saying, well, American style is this and Japanese style is that. It's like, okay, it could be overtly artistic or artisanal videos.
Do you remember the last guy?
Oh, God,
who
no.
Did the skipper who did his Godzilla video about how American Godzilla doesn't get Godzilla.
Oh, really?
He admitted people shit on it so hard because he got stuff wrong, like saying, like people in America didn't know Godzilla came from Japan for a long time.
Really?
And he said stuff like he didn't know Godzilla wasn't trademarked or so. Like he got so much wrong that he eventually admitted, yeah, I didn't do a lot of research for this.
He's a fan of Godzilla. Oh, okay.
Well, no, he said he wasn't a fan, and that he was making a video about how that was the most uninformed video ever. But yeah, that was the other guy, and I thought this was that guy, but I'm pretty sure he can't be as bad as that one.
Yeah. Oh my God. That would have been funny if we had another guy like that pop in and talk about Godzilla. But yeah, I don't know. Never heard of this dude. But it shouldn't take long. And I think, is it like the parent genre is like a disaster genre? Then there's like kaiju, and then there's like flavors of kaiju, and then you get to Godzilla somewhere in between all those.
I'm not sure if you'd say kaiju and disaster, like what caused what?
There's no kaiju without disaster is not really kaiju, is it?
Yeah.
Well, in the genre of disaster films, like from the West, you got like all those like End of Days, or all. It could be an action flick. It could be a natural disaster flick. It could be all kinds of things. So it's always to play on the fear.
Godzilla tries to have. Well, I think Godzilla, when it came over, tried to have a message. For the most part, a lot of it was just dumb. Even the ones that were just dumb, guy in rubber suit blows stuff up. Fun.
Yeah.
Try to maintain Godzilla is a representation of like atomic weapons and man's hubris, and the case. Like the other big time is he became a environmentalist, and it became like a representation of nature's wrath. There's always something that's beyond just destruction.
Right. That was the impetus for Godzilla, for Astro Boy, for a few other things in the 50s and 60s was anti-war messaging and the fear of the atomic weapons, and I think that's been pretty well known. So I see why it focuses on life more and the struggle of people in war, as opposed to what the West wants to like turn it into. Not a superhero, but focus on the individual character of Godzilla and what that means to the people studying him or the people involved in the story, etc. So as opposed to, we got to save the world. We got to save our community. We got to save the hero characters involved. Anyway, let's get going.
This video, movie.
All right.
Movie?
Is it
We
a
all know the cliche
streaming?
that art teacher.
Yeah, is that like a streaming service or an app? I don't have no
I
idea.
really thought it was a sponsorship at first.
Probably.
Really help you draw anime. But why?
Wait a second.
What?
I've had teachers. I did my high schooling in the 90s, so I had two amazing art teachers. They didn't care, and I actually did paintings in anime style, so they didn't mind. So maybe it's a modern thing? Some art teachers don't like anime or the manga style? Huh.
They're as prejudiced as anybody else.
I know, but it's
they
a
think the
weird thing.
stuff they grew up with, that's high art, and anything else isn't. And
Well,
they're at the same time the people who consider themselves the most open-minded.
oh yeah, that's the thing. Like most of the people I met, even in going to school for fine arts, but in high school, my fine art teachers were so open. It's like, oh, you want to do this? We have an air compressor. You want to do that? We got gouache. You want to do that? We got some lemon-based oils. Like they were so open and ready to spend money, and just like, oh, you want to express yourself? Here, let's try it. Like let's give it a shot. And they were so good with that. And they were sculptors, and some of them were, they didn't really do digital art. I helped out with that a bit, but they were classically trained. One was an actual model, so she went through the entire gamut of photography and art. Architecture. Like she did a lot of stuff. Whereas the other one was all like big paintings and sculptures and using the kiln to make like pottery. So we had two really good art teachers. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So I don't think they never complained about art styles at all. So anyway.
Anime is too popular? Are art teachers all complete snobs? I want you to keep that question in mind,
snobs.
and we'll come back to
maybe.
it at the end. For now,
Yeah, because they hated it when it was novel and foreign.
Depends.
So that's why I just go with their snobs.
Okay.
Now
Is it Ghibli
they
or
either hate things
Ghibli?
because they're everywhere or because it's foreign. It's so strange. Go.
Was it Studio Ghibli or Ghibli?
Ghibli.
G-
Well,
Uh,
if you want,
I come from the Ghibli camp.
yeah, if you want to use the soft or the hard J with the G, you can say that. Yeah, because it's Italians. We don't have a J, so it's like, all right, we use G, like Giulia. So you could use that if you want. Yeah.
now
We have
let's
both.
talk about Godzilla.
Godzilla.
In a way,
Godzilla.
my reaction to American Godzilla is like an art teacher's reaction to anime drawings. I acknowledge its quality, I enjoy its authenticity, in fact, I am having a blast. Yet, the critic inside me is like a harsh teacher. I know it can do better, but it is not.
Okay.
This feeling has only been intensified when Godzilla -1 rose to challenge the world. It's like I'm seeing a particularly talented individual led astray by a very fundamental mistake. A basic decision that made Hollywood incapable of creating something that can rival -1 or Shin or the original. And I don't like that feeling. I'm not saying that because
Well,
I'm
that's
a
a
weeb.
little-
I am,
that's a bit
but
of a
that's
stacked
neither here nor there.
What was that?
Hit the
Because-
pause button so we can
Sorry.
understand you.
Like he's of course pointing out -1, and people like because it's a franchise of like over 30 films, and it's like I don't think it's entirely fair to say was like some people on the snobbish side will say, oh, just these three are the high art, and they go with -1, Shin, or the very original.
Well, isn't the idea behind -1? It's more Americanized. It's more accepting. It's easier to watch because special effects have been so advanced over the years. So it's like, okay, we can accept this as a popcorn style blockbuster ish movie. That
Wait,
you...
-1?
What about it?
Definitely not.
No, okay.
-1's definitely not a popcorn film.
All right.
It's not American. I wouldn't call it American.
All right. So foreign.
The CGI was really good. There was definitely more like practical effects than the average, than like most of the American Godzilla films. Like
But would it be considered a film that is more digestible and acceptable than, let's say, a Godzilla film from the 80s or 70s?
What do you mean by digestible?
Meaning the average consumer goes, I could watch this. Like, I could spend an hour just chilling out watching a Godzilla film, as opposed to, am I going to watch something from the 70s that's low rated, low budget, has foreign subtitles, that sort of thing?
Well, it's definitely -1 shocked a lot of people because it didn't have a dub; it was subtitled, and a lot of people, like, it actually made more. I think it made more money in America than it did
exactly
in Japan.
Yeah.
Really?
Like, they actually, like, it shocked the director. Like, Toho actually had to extend the theatrical, so they were originally just going to release it in the States for like a week, but the response was so overwhelmingly positive, they extended it by like a month, and that's how I was able to see it in theaters.
Yeah.
And like, I even took my cousins to see it, and they didn't care at all that it wasn't dubbed, that they had to read like stuff, and that's like they're younger, so
good.
so it was definitely digestible like that. But I think like -1's like just a massive, like, comparing it to the 70s and 80s films. I wouldn't say it's a very different Godzilla film.
Right. Exactly.
And like, the 70s were definitely popcorn flicks, like intentionally goofy and action, explosive. Those were definitely more and well, it's also hard to tell because the 70s and 80s films weren't really released in America when they came out, so it's hard. There was a time, especially with the 80s films, where there were no theatrical releases because Toho got banned from distributing them.
Yeah.
So like, watching them now, the 80s are definitely more, most of the 80s films are more digestible, just good cheesy fun. There's a decent enough story in them, but -1 was the standout of, like, there's an actual, not but like very melodramatic story and people like were drawn to that because it was just good on its own.
Right.
And that's, like, as far as like what this video is going to go into, it is something that -1 stands out a lot, is that it's really not about Godzilla. Like, Godzilla, and that's like a huge standout for the franchise as a whole, because even the more serious Godzilla films have a focus on Godzilla, and Godzilla in -1 is a lot more understated.
Yeah, I mean, if you go further back, like the 60s, I think there were some in the 50s as well when it started, that people would never even consider watching that unless it was like an old style movie theater and you had like a bunch of film buffs. But that's very specific. It's like stuff in the 90s, maybe the 2000s were more acceptable as well. I don't remember all the ones that were made in America though. So maybe they did do relatively well when they did come out.
Actually, like, the 98 one, where he's just that one.
The Roland Emmerich one.
The TriStar one.
That was horrible.
Yeah, that one though. That one was actually really successful. People kind of mistakenly remember it as like a bomb. Like, it was critically a bomb, but it was actually one of the top 10 highest grossing films of that year.
Yeah, it was. It was more Jurassic Park than Godzilla.
Yeah, that's because it was riding high. Like, it's an interesting story. There's a good video by Big Action Bill about how that film was made and how Toho actually saw. Toho had a lot of problems, but they were like, Roland Emmerich's hot right now, and when are we gonna be able to get Godzilla over to the States? with a
Oh.
with a famous director. So they were just like, because Roland Emmerich was directly telling Toho, "Yeah, I don't really like the older Godzilla." And you know what? Not only that, I think he said, "I'll only sign on to this if you just let me have him not act like Godzilla." And Toho was like, "He's a big name. Let's give it to him."
That was a big risk. Big gamble.
And they made their money on it, but yeah.
Yeah. It could have been like it could have been Ryan Johnson.
Yeah.
Oh, so she.
So I didn't know that part of the story, so that kind of redeems that weird movie. Or rather standard movie, really.
Well, that's the when it came. Was it popular in 2010s, like the MonsterVerse world? So I don't know if that's a big thing in Japan, but that made hundreds of millions of dollars. All those movies.
Godzilla, the 2014 one is, I think, still the second highest grossing Godzilla movie.
I know it made a lot of money. I just don't know like how popular it was in the West, or sorry, the East. So.
Oh no, the East. Japan, Toho loved it.
So yeah, because the animes were like, okay, this is riding high off that. So, but -1, it didn't come out last year. It came out 2 years ago. I thought. I'm trying to remember the date.
Almost 2 years. End of 23.
Yeah, it was I knew it was December-ish or around there. So.
And I regret not having seen it in the cinema.
I know, because it's like, oh, it's just this thing. It's like, oh, whatever. And then people are like, oh, this is amazing. It's like that was like last year. I don't remember that coming out at all.
Good. Yeah. The guy is, I think, greenlit. I think the guy is getting a sequel. Because there's this so Legendary and Toho have a deal of where their movies can't come out in the same year. So
that's fair.
Yeah.
So that's why New Empire was so soon after -1, because they have that agreement. And so you have a new MonsterVerse movie confirmed called Supernova, and the guy that directed -1 is confirmed to have an unannounced kaiju movie contracted, and it's for the year after Supernova. So people are saying, yeah, he's totally getting a -1 sequel.
Interesting. All right.
Probably getting it.
So let's see where this guy's going with the difference.
Just one more thing about, because you talk about -1. I will say that in the director also said that he intentionally made Godzilla like not as focused on in -1. And
he's really more the animal that he started out as in the very first movie.
Yeah, and it's something I noticed after watching, when you compare it to like all the other Godzilla movies, is there's no like the people in -1, like the Japanese characters in -1, really come to grips with Godzilla existing really fast. Like you don't have a scene where characters are like, "Wait, no, you're crazy. This monster can't exist." Like there's like from the moment Godzilla shows up, the guy's like, "Yeah, that's Godzilla. I heard about him from the island," and they're just like, "Oh, okay." They're not like, because in almost every Godzilla movie, you have that scene where they explain, well, like the characters don't believe it, and then you have that scene that explains how Godzilla exists, and they don't have that in the -1, which was.
Well, we get some sort of idea about that, but it's not that important. Rather, think of what time it plays in. It's World War II.
Yeah,
Media isn't that big yet.
Yeah.
Media isn't that big yet. Mythology is still strong with people, especially in Japan. So, some big spirit or monster appearing somewhere and wreaking havoc, that's just your normal, everyday, natural disaster. That's life. That just happens. That's what you have with a culture that still has a strong tie to animism.
Yeah, they bring him up like when he shows up on the island at the start. He's mentioned as like, I heard the soldiers say, like the locals talk about this spirit, like this Shinto spirit monster around the island, rumored to be around the island.
Oh, geez.
And then they have a very brief scene about the nuclear tests, and they show Godzilla gets hit by them, and it's like 10 seconds long, but they never, like, there's no scene like sitting where the characters sit down and go, oh, he was created by nukes, and how is this possible?
Mhm.
Like they like, it's just overall, the director intentionally made Godzilla not really focused on, and it was more on the human drama and how Godzilla is a looming thing
Yeah.
over the human drama.
The classic folklore, the classic trope of the guardian spirit of Earth or this or that was, I guess you could say, made popular in the late 90s with the remake of Godzilla, but even before that, the year before, was Final Fantasy VII's release. Not that permeated the mind of the people of storytelling, but that was like, oh wait a second, we've heard this before. Gamers have heard of these stories before back in the 80s with Dragon Warrior and what have you. So it's nothing unheard of, but to see it on the big screen, it's like, oh, okay, this is a big thing now, the idea of a guardian spirit. But that was tied into, because there's such a history with Godzilla from 70s, 80s, and 90s, and then the remake in 98. Oh, was it 98? Yeah, I think it was 98.
Yeah, it was 98.
So it's like, oh, okay, they're just trying to bring it back in a different format. And then the 2000s, and I can't remember all of them because I didn't watch them, but I know they existed.
The 2000s was the Millennium series, and they just it was the shortest one, but they did something very strange where every movie was a reboot.
Oh, jeez.
And every movie was like, there's like a similar anime that did that kind of, I can't think, like every movie was, okay, so the original exists, but now this is a reboot sequel to that original movie, and we're just doing a completely different thing.
Yeah.
And
same with, was it Shin Godzilla? That was also its own unique thing.
that was by far the most unique one.
Yeah.
I think that one hailed back the most to it's a force of nature, and let's have government plans on what to deal with it, and it's all just nonsense. It's all just fails and goofy.
Yeah, that's the major plot.
On the side of the attempt to solve it. But you have that part also reflected in -1, just not on that high level, but it's still happening. However, the strong focus of -1 is the personal story. And this is something where I give the Japanese strong credit for. They make the personal story, the human part, in that work. While the human part in any movie from the United States that is magical character from this other universe or video game is real and is in New York now, it's just always just boring and annoying.
Depends on the genre, depends on the writer. I know what you mean, though. Yeah.
I couldn't name you off the top of my head an exception to that.
All right. Anyway,
But have you not seen -1 yet?
Wisp?
What?
Well, no, I was asking, have you seen -1, Smud?
No, I have not. I still want to, though.
Okay.
I've heard good
It's
things.
very, very much worth. It's just, you also got to keep in mind the director, like, because that's like saying as a fan, it's very unique. It's like it doesn't feel written as a kaiju film. It feels written as a war movie, and Godzilla is the representation of the war.
All right. Okay, here's a huge super chat from Zimzilla99. That's a clever name there, considering our topic. Thank you for the 20. I think you mean the films from the 90s because Godzilla 84 was released in the US. Toho didn't want Emmerich. That was Sony's choice. I've covered this video before. His criticisms of the MonsterVerse can apply to many Toho ones. Now, that's from the 80s and 90s, or is that from the 2000s? I think because the MonsterVerse came out later.
Because you had the Godzilla movies. So the Heisei series came out in Japan in the 80s, like throughout the 80s and a little bit into the 90s, but they weren't released in America till the late 90s because TriStar got the rights for Godzilla because they made the 98 remake.
Yeah, but that was like just the 98 movie. I thought you said Millennium came out after that. Or...
Yeah, Millennium Yeah, because Toho started making Godzilla movies again after '98 came out, and the Millennium series started, and the Millennium series wasn't on a They didn't get. I don't think they got a single theatrical release in the States, but they got released in the States on home video and stuff.
Right. Yeah. Well, that was
when before they were completely banned from. They just were not allowed to release the Heisei films in any form in the States.
Yeah, that was when Blockbuster was going down as the internet was catching up, and Netflix came about later in the 2000s. Whew. Wow, those were the years. All those crazy imports on the VHS aisle, you're like, what the hell? Or the Laserdisc aisle, you're like, what the hell is that? I've never heard of that stuff before. But you take a risk, you rent out something from Japan, it's usually awesome.
I think he's right when he said Toho had problems because I'm just getting it off of what I watched in that Big Action Bill video, which is like a history on that movie. Is like how Toho had a bunch of problems with Emmerich, but they still signed on with him because it's what like the American companies they were working with wanted, but they also wanted to go with Emmerich because he had name recognition, and they thought that would be like they didn't want to miss the way it was described in the video was Toho didn't want to miss the opportunity to have a big name director like handle Godzilla being shown in the West, so they kind of like swallowed their problems and went with it. And
cool.
That's how I remember.
Yeah. No, they got smart. That's good. All right, let's keep going.
Say this because American Godzilla is about Godzilla, but Japanese Godzilla is about life.
Yeah.
It's a bit broad.
What is Shin Godzilla about? From the nuclear hit to the hazmat suit, the earthquake and the tsunami, it doesn't take much for anyone to realize that this film is a metaphor for the Fukushima nuclear disaster. Indeed, facing the devastation caused by Godzilla, the film sharply satirizes political incompetence. It examines the unequal US and Japan relationship. It makes fun of the masses for not taking an emergency seriously. All of these details mirror real-world events. Shin Godzilla is a deeply political movie. But Shin Godzilla is hardly the only one. The OG Godzilla is often mistakenly interpreted as a film about Hiroshima and Nagasaki. While it certainly drew inspiration from that, the film had a much more pointed purpose. Godzilla came out in 1954, back when the US was conducting nuclear tests on Bikini Atoll. The location is closer to Japan than it is to US mainland. It was as if the US was flexing its reach. Tragedy struck on March 1st, 1954, when a Japanese fishing boat was exposed to nuclear fallout due to one of the bomb tests. The resulting radiation burn is too graphic to be shown on YouTube. One fisherman would die during the treatment for acute radiation syndrome. This event shook the nation of Japan. The opening scene of Godzilla emerging from the sea and attacking a fishing vessel is a direct reference to this real-life event.
Yeah, I think I remember this. We watched a video about this a few years back or whenever, and this is what...
Skipper guy.
Yeah. I can't remember if we liked the video or not, but it was a good telling.
We did not like the video.
Okay, yeah, it's
There were other people on who were also like Godzilla guys, and they were like, what the fuck is this guy talking?
Oh, no.
Godzilla would proceed to island hop before invading Japan mainland a la Operation Downfall. Godzilla isn't just a film about the terror of nuclear weapons, it was a protest against the US. This is the purpose.
Sure that it was that far.
Yeah, I agree. That's a reach.
I mean, especially since, especially considering the American release of the original movie was a big factor in getting Godzilla off the ground in Japan at all. Like, there's a bit of a complicated thing. Like, also the American cut, King of the Monsters, was released in Japan, and that also helped Toho want to keep Godzilla going because it was well received in Japan.
Yeah. Cool.
For nature of all good Godzilla films. In Giant Monsters All Out Attack, the highest grossing film of the Millennium series, Godzilla is interpreted as a super.
That movie's nuts. That's a crazy kaiju film you gotta watch. Because we mentioned Shin Godzilla is really okay. I'll probably go into it. That movie is also super political.
Okay, fair enough.
Natural monster born from the rage of fallen World War II soldiers. The film minimizes the nuclear angle. After all, the Cold War has ended. Instead, it examines Japan's spirit in the post-war era. It urges Japan to move on from the shadow of its blood-soaked past.
Okay, that's probably so. He kind of glossed over it. So that was the guy that made GMK. He said he directed it. Like the Godzilla's meaning in that movie is a direct response to what he felt was a bad rise of nationalism in Japan at the time, and what he thought was nationalists and the government overall that were trying to downplay or ignore the bad stuff Japan did in the wars they were a part of, and that specifically World War II. And he directly said that he made it as a response to that, which is why Godzilla is a big ghost monster that is possessed by the spirits of people massacred by. I think it's also like the Japanese that died overall, but it's also the people killed by the Imperial Japanese.
Oh.
And he's attacking Japan. It's a whole metaphor for Japan needs to not forget its past, including the bad stuff.
That sounds like a very prominent message that some Japanese writers and not poets. What was I going to say? Yeah, the general message is don't forget your past from a lot of these Japanese authors over the years.
Yeah, it was just like it was a directly, like the director admitted it was a political purpose of a response to, because Japan has had that kind of reputation for a while. It doesn't want to acknowledge stuff that they did in World War II, and it's just connected to that.
All right, I was thinking of Yukio Mishima. That he's the guy who died trying to bring back the honor of Japan. Go back to the old ways. Oh boy, what great writer, by the way. Anyway.
Would indirectly inspire Godzilla -1, a film that took all of the previously mentioned elements and pushed it even further. At its highest height, Godzilla is about war and politics. At its lowest low, Godzilla is still about pollution and even bullying. Godzilla's ability to transform into top.
Yeah, that's true. Ishiro Honda, I didn't know that for the longest time. Ishiro Honda directed that one, Godzilla's Revenge, and it's actually one of his favorites. It's hard to understand why.
Okay.
Because it's considered the worst one.
Yeah.
Issues is why this kaiju remains relevant 70 years later. To this day, this giant monster urges Japan to examine and re-examine itself. This is the soul of Godzilla.
Okay. Oh no!
Of course, Japan is no stranger.
Oh, never mind.
Are we gonna...
I have seen Porco Rosso once, and I still don't know what to think of it.
It's not for everyone. It's fine.
And that was a long time ago.
As an example, Shohei Imamura's Black Rain is a brutal look at the horrific aftermath of Hiroshima. It's a perfect companion film to go along with Oppenheimer or Godzilla -1. Yasuzo Masumura's Red Angel is a much more controversial but thought-provoking look at the dehumanizing nature of war.
What a strange background music to talk about these topics.
Damage from the perspective of...
It's like, holy shit, these people are in the hospital dying. It's like...
It's called juxtaposition. It's an art form. It's art. You must love the art.
Elevator music. Okay.
That's what it sounds like.
Oh, a front line. If you want to see these films for yourself, may I recommend Mubi. In fact, Mubi is how I found Red Angel in the first place.
How?
Mubi is a streaming platform dedicated to elevating films from...
yeah, I think it's free.
Oh, that's why it's elevator music.
Yeah, I guess.
Because of it's elevating.
Oh, God.
diverse curated catalog, I find Mubi to be a perfect place to browse, learn, and watch new films. Right now, from Canada, if I want to see...
Oh, this guy's Canadian. Oh.
Wait.
class-
Wait. There's obscure German movies on that site? Okay, I'm hooked up.
Well, there's Tubi.
Because you can't find these things anywhere anymore.
It's weird. If you go to Tubi, I haven't tried Mubi, but there's a few others like Pluto TV. You'll find like all this weird stuff from like the 50s and 60s. Like I've never heard of these films. And a series that you might have forgotten about, like Hogan's Heroes, are really good. And they got them all. They're just all there for
How
free.
would you forget about Hogan's Heroes?
I know, but it's like, I remember that show I used to like when I was a kid. You're like, oh shit, that's there. So yeah, it's stuff that that streaming services have forgotten about, but older, freer versions of, like, I guess Tubi and Mubi have them.
We have Tetsuo the Iron Man.
Oh
That's
jeez,
a crazy one.
really?
And one called Anti-Porno.
Anti-porn. What the hell is that? Oh god.
I can put on The Black Report. And if I want something
Oh,
more
yeah.
badass, I can put on a Beat Takeshi
You guys don't know who Takeshi is?
You mean the
Takehiro
The
Takeshi.
Kitano?
I can't remember his name, but yeah, he's the guy in the live action of Ghost in the Shell. He plays the old man.
Yeah, and he's
Oh, you mean the
absolutely
actor,
miscast
not
as the old fox.
Yeah,
He's wearing a giant suit
he was.
and then sits in the chair with his leg over the side. Like, what the hell? That's not that character.
He was the inspiration.
Everyone is on point except him.
He was the inspiration for the Ghost in the Shell second season's villain, Kuze or Kaze, I can't remember his name. And his whole face is like, it's a mechanical military grade body, so it doesn't have many facial expressions. So he's always stiff. It's like, okay, I get it. It's great.
movie. You may know him as the dude from Ghost in the Shell.
Oh.
I know him as the dude who calls Devilman a piece of trash.
You should know him as the guy from Ghost in the Shell. That's you being an absolute culture void, an absolute ignoramus.
You of course know him from the
How-
live action.
Yeah, I know.
Ghost.
The niche live action that no one cared about in the States.
And
No,
people cared
no,
because
no.
Scarlett Johansson was cast.
Yeah, that's about it.
You should, in the West, you should know Takeshi Kitano from Takeshi's Castle and nothing else.
Oh, okay.
How can you not know Takeshi's Castle? It's the best show that was ever made, except for SG-1 and Babylon 5.
Oh my God. All right. Anyway,
See, he agrees with me.
let's keep going. Here's Zimzilla99 one more time. Thank you, sir. He's wrong that Godzilla island hopped. Godzilla only appeared on a single island before making landfall in Tokyo. Which movie was that? I don't know.
I think he means in
Probably
-1.
means -1.
Oh,
Because in -1 he's isolated. The like non-nuclear form is spotted on this island, and
Yeah.
it's described that the Japanese have, this battalion stationed on this far-off island, and they have locals. They have a local legend of Gojira, and then the main character lands on it because I don't want to spoil. Do you know much about? I don't want to spoil the movie. Yeah. So.
It's in the first 5 minutes.
I'm sure.
It is in the first 5 minutes, but
I'm
the first
sure
5 minutes are really good.
If I go to
That
my
is correct.
if I go to my brother's and ask him to watch some Godzilla, he probably has like the whole collection, so I don't have to.
I
Good.
still need to finish my collection. They only released in the last 10 years, like Blu-rays of films from the 80s.
Yeah.
Because there were a few that were still just locked away on VHS forever.
All right,
Well, you know what to do on the weekend.
go watch Takeshi's Castle.
That too.
Okay.
on an award show. If you also want to check it out or bathe in the glory of Beat Takeshi, you can try Mubi free for 30 days
Mubi,
at
Mubi.
mubi.com
Check out Mubi.
Pretty sure this isn't
That's
sponsored.
Mubi time.
MUBI/Accent Cinema for a whole month of great movies. If you enjoy our videos, I think you
It's one
enjoy
of the
movie as
few
well.
times I'm
give
hooked
it a
on
try
an ad.
today and explore the colorful world of cinema.
See, my problem with ads is and sponsors is that 99.999% of them I will never care about. I don't give a crap about. And I can't give a crap about. And that's not because of the autism. It's simply because they all try to sell me something I will never even look at with my ass. This is something I would actually be interested in. What is wrong with ads?
Well, this is a free download, I think, and there's probably like a premium subscription you could use to get whatever. But most of these are free anyway, so you just never heard of them because there's like dozens of free or just dozens of apps that no one bothers with.
It just makes me miss the days before streaming sites, because I remember before everyone was getting a streaming service, you had all these sites where you could just do all this for free. And like in college, I used to constantly go to this site called F Films, and it basically stood for free films.
Oh yeah.
And they had just everything from like more recent films to like the oldest 30s films, and just had to click a button. You didn't have to do anything. You didn't have to make an account. They were just all on the site. You pick it, and then that site, I later found out, got, I guess, taken down because copyright or something.
Oh yeah.
It was around the time streaming platforms took off.
I remember back when I was working at Zoomer Media, the tech guys needed some help for a script service because that was one of the World Cups. So we made our own watch any World Cup game while they're being played live online. And we had like all these like not pirate, but I guess they're illegal, Russian servers or Chinese servers. We just watch all the live soccer games all at once on our big screens at work. And we do it also on our phones because we had our own private IP. It was great. It was like, yeah, we'll just watch whatever we can anytime. Yeah, no, it was fun to do.
I'm not a friend of streaming movies. It's either you have it on site or you don't. Download it beforehand, because there's nothing worse than, I have a connection issue. Let me show you this loading bar in the middle of the movie.
Oh,
Fuck
yeah.
off.
Well, there's also, if you have a good internet connection or a good router at least, casting from your computer to your whatever screen, whatever you got, is hopefully better, because 10 years ago it sucked. Now it's good. So
I mean, that's acceptable streaming, because you at least have the file.
yeah, exactly. So you could watch it on your PC, no problem, or you just cast it to your bigger screen and everyone could watch it together. Anyway.
That's the worst Godzilla suit ever.
Let's not pretend Godzilla is always this classy.
Donk.
While this series has enormous highs, most of the time Godzilla remains a cheesy tokusatsu featuring people in rubber suits.
Yeah.
This is especially the case during the Showa era, when Godzilla had its first and longest running series, totaling 15 films, released almost annually. Towards the end, it had run out of steam. The films became episodic, and the monsters started to act like wrestlers. To a fan, these much sillier iterations are every bit as Godzilla as the bad
We knew it was
This
cool.
is where Hollywood Godzilla draws its inspiration from. From Godzilla's rivalry with King Ghidorah, to Dr. Serizawa blowing himself up near Godzilla, to Mothra always coming in pairs but only one of them ever gets action because of budgetary reasons, by most metrics, the American series is remarkably faithful. You can tell these films are made by Godzilla fans, wrestling fans.
Wrestling.
That's right, let me ask this question again. What is the American Godzilla series about? Kong and Godzilla team up to fight against the sudden intrusion of Mechagodzilla. It is hype as f***, if you are familiar with Mechagodzilla in the first place. It's as if Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage were having an epic battle when suddenly Andre the Giant shows up and forcing the two to form a temporary alliance. It sounds awesome to wrestling fans. To me, Hollywood Godzilla is functionally a series about another series. There are dream matches between beloved characters. They are high-budget fan films. Though it is no pale imitation, it is still just an imitation. Indeed, the American series rarely, if ever, tackles real-life issues.
Calling them fan
The
films
best
is
it ever
justified,
does
I
is
think.
a condemnation of
It's a good description.
eco-terrorism, an
I think
inoffensive
every
position
single
against
director was like, I'm a big fan of, like, Gareth Edwards, and especially it was like I'm a big fan of the original, and like he was going for a similar tone to the original.
Well, except for Emmerich,
Well,
Emmerich, yeah, not
he was not a fan. But
and Adam Wingard too.
Zimzilla in the chat also mentioned that that movie was in development hell since '92 or something.
Oh,
What?
98, yeah, there's an interesting history to that. There
Really?
was supposed to be, yeah, I might link the video. It's very, yeah, there was it's really a shame too, because the original idea, like Tim Burton was involved at one point, and like it was gonna have practical effects. It was gonna be like a guy in either like half a guy in a suit, half like I think they got. There was a guy in particular. I think, was it Roger Corman? Like it was some guy who was, known for like practical effects at the time, and it was gonna. They had a whole different look, where Godzilla looked more like a T-Rex, but he still had the spikes, and he was gonna run around New York, and it's a real shame that one didn't pan out. But it's really, they had a whole different idea.
all right. Zimzilla again with the $4.99. Thank you, sir. I was referring to the 54 because he states that in the original that Godzilla does this, but the -1 Odo Island is the only island he appears on. Oh, so the whole movie takes place on Odo Island. Is that it?
In the original one,
I guess so.
Because in the original one he's a subaquatic creature, where they mention like he's like a part of a species from underground caves that are around this island.
Oh god, there's more of them?
Yeah, it's actually a part of the original film everyone forgets, which is that he was from like he was from underground caves, and then
Remember the underground caves?
It's also like some novelization. Like there was a whole canceled they were originally going to end Godzilla at the third movie, like completely end and kill him off. Well, they were going to reveal that he had other members of his species were in these underground caves that led to this is actually the idea where Hollow Earth comes from in the Monsterverse, and they were going to make a giant robot that was a woman, and Godzilla was going to fall in love with it and take the robot back to his back to the Hollow Earth nest of his species, and the robot was filled with nukes, and they destroyed them, and they were
like a real woman.
It was called Bride of Godzilla, and Toho was originally going to just kill Godzilla off right there with the third film, and they of course didn't. But yeah, in the first film, he's a subaquatic animal, and they talk about how he's from these tunnels, and those tunnels are around that island, and the nuclear tests take place around that island, and he's spotted at that island, and then he of course goes to Tokyo, Japan, because it's close by, and he's like, "You guys nuked me and my family. I'm gonna destroy Japan." Kind of the gist of it.
That's why I love these films. They are never more than simple guilty pleasures. American Godzilla has the form,
That's a
but
backhanded
lacks the soul.
compliment.
Okay.
When Charlie Chaplin was making The Great Dictator, a movie that satirizes and condemns Nazism, it was met with pushback. According to his autobiography, he was warned by United Artists regarding censorship, and the film may not be shown in the UK, which was not at war yet. Remember, the extent of the horrors in Nazi Germany was not widely known in 1939.
You can't say that in Germany, because they keep telling us all the time that, oh no, everybody knew totally, and that's why it's justified to kill all the Nazis and Germans today, because they voted for all the horrible stuff, and that's objectively not true. But seriously, they tell our kids shit. I was a kid once. You may believe that if you wish, and they talk about Nazi stuff all the time in history. Like the entire era is covered. Was in my day covered 3 times across all of school, and always so superficially, always the exact same stuff, no depth, none of it. Nothing about the war, really. Nothing about Stalingrad, even. Even the opening moves of the war, barely mentioned. It was basically the failures of Weimar weren't covered. Like, yeah, there was inflation, but it wasn't explained where it came from.
Oh, right.
It wasn't really explained. I can go on for an hour of what was all missing.
I'm just shocked. He said because Britain wasn't in the. He said Britain wasn't involved in the war yet in 1940. That
doesn't sound right.
I think he said 39.
Okay.
Yeah, they were definitely involved.
Because I know America entered later. I thought it was like 39, whereas like it officially.
An interesting thing about this the Great Dictator is that Chaplin said later, after the atrocities came out of what was actually going on in what the Nazis did, he said that had he known that, he would not have made the move. Which
really?
I think is strange.
Weird.
Because you should still mock this loony authoritarian Orwellian nonsense. But part of it, I'm not entirely sure. What people don't know is that Charlie Chaplin also was a very convinced communist, although a very superficial one. There are records of his conversations at dinners where he basically talks like your average superficial pseudo-intellectual lefty who's just full of slogans, full of propaganda, without
like
any actual substance. Yeah, without any actual substance. So it's not really to blame there, because he, at the time, and that is an excuse that in the 30s and 40s, you can still give to a lot of the socialists and communists who supported that idea, that system, that the big atrocities either weren't known yet to them or hadn't even happened yet. All the true horrible sides of the red socialism would only manifest later on in the last century. While, as he said, the atrocities of the brown socialism weren't known yet either. That's
a curious thing. Like, did he mean he wouldn't make it at all? Like, or did he mean he wouldn't have made it the way he made it?
No, he wouldn't have made it at all. That's what I remember.
It's really weird. Like, because Hitler was made fun of, like, in early Three Stooges stuff. Hitler was made fun of, and the Nazis were made fun of as soon as he hit the scene.
Oh yeah.
People didn't know about a whole bunch of stuff, and that didn't come later. But it's like weird. Why would you not? If you're a comedian, why would you not?
There's all kinds of paper clippings of cartoonists drawing. Well, not only what happened with Germany, but with Russia and the leaders of Europe, and all kinds of political leaders during World War II. So it was already known.
Well, World War II is like, there's a lot to cover.
The logic is that it would be too tasteless, considering the amount and type of atrocity that Hitler brought.
I think
to make fun of him in that manner.
Yeah, because there was propaganda on all sides, and it was all pretty like, whoa, this is.
Oh, because I've never seen the Great. I've heard it praised to high hell. I've never is it like more? It is a comedy, so I guess he's like it's
a big satire,
right?
Yeah, so I guess his problem is it's such a serious thing that trying to get humor out of it is not what he would do. I guess. But maybe I don't know.
Well, now we got Mel Brooks.
And Spaceballs too.
We got Springtime for Hitler. Yeah, it's great. There we go.
Was controversial. It was a deeply political movie that ruffled a lot of feathers. When the film came out, however, it was received with wide acclaim. Making fun of Nazis became the American way of life. This is why
The producers was such a slog to get through.
Yeah.
Just the stage play, the musical number, that was basically the only good thing about that movie.
The one-
I don't know if it was that deliberately atrocious in everything else.
He showed 2005. They made a remake of it.
Well, it's an adaptation. Yeah. It's the thing was originally a musical, then it became the film in the 70s or whenever the hell it came out. With Mel Brooks?
Not Gene Wilder in it. And
Yeah, I can't remember how long ago, but then they did an adaptation. So why not?
it always grinds my gears when people say that they want politics to stay out of movies and games. The most
Well, if you're making an adaptation of a satire, which is about politics, that's what you have satire for.
Politicians and war.
Yeah, I mean, we're not stupid. We don't say, "Oh, we don't want politics in our movies." We don't want the crazy lefties putting their politics in where it doesn't belong. Not because
No,
it's politics.
that's not politics. That's just propaganda.
It's
that's
just
a different thing.
It's just.
I think.
It doesn't matter what it is. They're just pushing it in there where it doesn't belong. It could be politics.
But
it could be anything.
Yeah, but look. That's I think. I think the lefty is incapable of making politics without propaganda.
It becomes
Because then he would need to be objective in some manner, and he can't because he's actually standing for something atrocious. That if for all the good-hearted, the kind-hearted, naive and ignorant lefties, what the Soviets called useful idiots, which are good people, but they have no clue, and therefore they cannot actually objectively portray politics. Because they only know the propaganda. They believe what's on the advertisement poster of the left.
Think of a Catholic film. What are those Christian movies or whatever they're called?
Well, I know what you're talking about. They a lot of them hit the scene and like God's Not Dead. That's one of them.
There's a bunch, but those are basically proselytizing movies where it's like there's some magical miracle about love, and the two people wind up together at the end. And Women's Network.
It's on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, there's a bunch of those, but see, in those contexts, Hallmark films. Some of them are like that.
Hallmark,
some of them are like that, but some Hallmark films are just basic romance crap. That's fine.
Yeah.
But the religious ones, those are actual proselytizing, but done in the narrative, meaning there's a plot, there's some characters, something happens, then some angel comes down and says, "Hey, you should better your life and don't do that." And it's like, oh, okay, fine. The end. Those are basic stories. They're kind of cheesy. That's fine. What I'm talking about is it doesn't matter if it's religion. It doesn't matter if it's intersexual or interracial marriages or anything like that. It's the way it's done. And it's no longer proselytizing or going to that level. It's just pushing itself inside of something where it's out of place, where the narrative just stops. And you're like, okay, this is weird. Why is there this big drag queen rambling on about whatever? It does not fit. Like, why would you have, like, when you have musicals in movies, like say The Fifth Element, and it's this alien creature, but she's actually part of the plot. She's got one of the plot points or one of the keys in her stomach, and she has to die to get it out. And you're like, but that's a whole amazing, like, she hits notes that are so high pitched, like, okay, this is an alien, this is awesome. It's funny and it's entertaining, and that's a space opera. It all just jives together, and it's a musical part which would otherwise feel awkward. So there's a way
the movie speaks for itself. It doesn't shove it in.
It does not feel ham-fisted. It does not feel forced. Exactly. So and I don't care. I don't care if they want to talk about trans issues. I don't care if they want to talk about religion. I don't care if they want to talk about politics. It does not bother me.
I lost the plot where what the politics Fifth Element are.
I did too, actually.
What was the example there?
It's not about politics. See, the idea was that in that film, it's a space opera, which is all kinds of stupid shit happening. It's all melodramatic. It's over the top. And all of a sudden you have a literal musical inside of that, which is breaks. To me, when you put musical in,
it's part of the background.
It usually screws it up unless you're talking about like The Sound of Music or any of those older films where they are so long, and you need to give the audience time to breathe, and giving them a musical is nice. So,
Well, there's a key difference. The musical number in Fifth Element is not a Disney princess song where she tells something about her
Right.
character.
I'm not.
It's just cool music.
I'm not talking about.
That doesn't overstay its welcome.
Yeah, I'm not talking about a musical movie. That's exactly what I mean. Because when you put a musical in a non-musical movie, it feels very forced and like, whoa. Like we talk about Dragon Age Inquisition, and you're at the low point of the story, and let's sing a song, because we're a religious group on the walk, on the run from, the defeat we just had. And oh my God, there's a castle in the clouds, and we can start again. And you're like, what the hell is going on? Like it feels.
Here's a negative example. Would be the orgy in Zion in Matrix. That was a stupid, nonsensical bullshit scene that was just taken from because it happens in Dune. It was a Dune reference.
Oh really?
Yeah, that happens in the books. It happens all the time. They do this. They do the orgies all the time. It's just that they conveniently leave it out in the movies.
I could see it fitting in because of the nature of the setting, or sorry, the nature of the scenes, meaning they're about to go to war and they have this big party beforehand. You're like, okay, kind of makes sense.
They don't have enough food for all the babies.
You will say out of place musical. The only other film I can think of is Scream 2, where it's a slasher film, and then there's a random part where the boyfriend gets up on a table like it's a High School Musical and sings a song.
Well, that's the idea
like that in the film.
That's the idea of these inclusions of politics that we dislike, not because they're politics, not because we hate politics or don't want it in our films. It's because the way it's done, and it happens to be a left-leaning good thing, because it's good to them, therefore it should be in a film or in a series, or we should have a gay couple, or we should have
you're not making a film for entertainment anymore. You're making it for yourself,
for
your message,
a message, as opposed to if the genre is religious, or if the genre is spiritual, or whatever the whole point is, where you have a god come down or an angel come down and bless the couple, or guide them on their way. It's like, oh, okay, I get this. I know who makes this. I know who it's for. It's a form of proselytization. I get that. That's totally fine. Off you go. Fine.
Well, of course, everything I like and believe in should be in everything, because you just don't know what's good for you.
Or I think everyone should now like the gays, or be bisexual, or whatever. You're like, whoa, Jesus.
Like
because
this scene in the film,
you're wrong if you're not.
Just rants about how this person doesn't like me because I'm gay. I was gonna say Scorsese has that same, like, not just with political messaging, but like all messaging. He hates it when films beat you over the head with it.
Yeah.
And I guess it's a political message, and like in Wolf of Wall Street is where he like really talked about it. And I guess it's a political message, because there's nobody in the Wolf of Wall Street. There's no character in that movie that comes out and says, "Hey, these Wall Street degenerates are the scum of the earth." There's no character that does that. It's just the film, and the film is just, it delivers its message of this lifestyle is bad without telling you it's bad. It just shows you why it's bad.
Yeah,
there's nobody telling anyone be better.
Yeah, like the example here with the first interracial kiss for the 60s, that's kind of I'm glad that was done in the 60s. But then we have like the first lesbian kiss. It's not even the first lesbian, but the first mainstream lesbian kiss.
How many first lesbian kisses have there been in Star Trek?
I know, it's like...
Well, that wasn't even Star Trek, right? This was the first interracial kiss in a TV show, right?
Probably, but what I'm referring to is that it's important in the 60s because this was when we had the movement of blacks in America, and this is Paramount saying, okay, well, Star Trek has to be... And even the Martin Luther King told the actress, oh, no, you got to stay on that show, because she was going to quit the second or third season, and that was before this episode. So... he was like, no, you gotta represent, you gotta do your job. And it's like, oh, okay. So there was a little bit of politicking behind that. I get that. But that's the 60s. When we get to the 90s and we have, I I can't remember her, Terry Farrell and some other chick that they brought on as a for one episode. And you're like no one cared. It wasn't a big deal. So, it's political. The first lesbian, it's like no one, like DS9 wasn't popular. No one really cared. It wasn't a big deal.
Well, it's also, if you want to talk about what fits in the story or the world, isn't the premise of Star Trek that, they're in the future and all this stuff, like, at least how, like, because I've never seen Star Trek, but I've seen how fans talk about it, namely RLM, and it's like they talk about how the intention behind the premise of the world is that they are in advance, like the old world's problems are gone. It's not like wars, and they try to talk it out, and prejudices are gone.
Exactly. This is the problem with YouTubers like Steve Shives or whatever that guy's name is, where he says, Star Trek has always been liberal, it's always been political, and you're like, yes, but not in the context we're referring to. It does a bunch of things. It's an episodic story with all kinds of aliens and all kinds of scenarios and plots that can involve this or that politic or this or that power struggle or this. It's not a big, complicated plot to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, it was mostly philosophical, with which is what science fiction really is and should be and should remain, with very few exceptions where it went preachy and went into propaganda.
The ones that I consider political is I take the literal definition of the formulation and ratification of laws. So you're in Parliament, you're in some sort of Congress, and you're arguing over whatever. There's one. There's a few of those, but there's one in Star Trek and TNG I recall. It's some sort of rights between an alien species, and Picard is like going through the contract of how do we get these guys to give us more time to get these settlers off the planet.
Oh, is that the movie?
No, this is like season 3 or 4. I can't remember which season it is. And he wants to. He tries to use all these things because they keep beating him over the head with his contract because they're right. So he's like, fine, I want a mediator from the Dragari or something. They're like in a hibernation phase, like 5 months away. He's like, what are you talking about? It's like, that's the one I appoint as my mediator. And they say, fine, we'll let you do that. But it's
I actually like I like.
Yeah, but that's to me that's politics because you're arguing over the law of the contract. So to me, it could be in a courtroom, it could be in a.
I think that's a specific word for that escapes me right
Legalese.
now.
Right, it's a legal battle.
Yes, too, but there is an ounce of Machiavellianism in it.
But
I hear that as like Picard pulled a lawyer move.
Yeah, exactly. See, that to me,
it's a chess play. It's a chess play of politics. It's not the I have my concept and my idea, and you have yours, and then now we battle it out.
And we are an army,
words or something else. It's rather this chess game.
It is not just a bunch of armies. I believe in X, you believe in Y. We must kill each other to the death. And you're like, oh my god. Yeah. It's more than that. It's not just war. So
yeah, we had a word for that in. No, I can't translate that. I don't know how to translate that. We use that in Germany all the time, where when people use not the laws themselves, but you have something beneath a law with which you organize your gathering, whether it's a party congress or your parliament itself. It has its own code of how it operates, and
I know what you're talking about.
And you play around with the rules of engagement on how we interact with each other and what can be submitted when and how you can
I'm thinking back to
push that through
legal language.
Yeah, like you have tricks like your filibuster in the US could never happen here, or we have this vote on this thing now. And we are not enough people. We're not enough people to actually ratify it. But as long as nobody asks to count whether there are enough people to ratify it, to have to vote on it, we can still vote on it and ratify it. And now there's a new opposition party, and they actually dare ask to count whether there are enough people, and now we're all pissed because now we have checked that we are not enough people to ratify it. Otherwise, we would have. And so we've got a lot of horrible dystopian laws in Germany in the past half century.
All the time over here.
Lots of these things.
All right.
Or people, or then
yeah.
Yeah, or then three people deliberately they look around, they count how many people are there, and then three people leave the room, and somebody else calls for counting how many people there are, and then it's not enough anymore. And it's just like these little tricks, and this is just one example of it.
Well, anyway, back to the video.
He was talking about
that's what Picard did.
Godzilla.
Yeah, it's...
Oh, Picard the show, not Picard the guy.
Oh God, no, not the show. Forget the show. Just don't. Don't talk.
I think that Insurrection was based on another TNG episode. Really, they were almost the same plot.
Oh yeah, I know.
Might have been that one.
Don't talk about TNG movies. It's never a good idea.
Yeah.
Anyway,
pity.
9 minutes. Let's see what he has to say.
How during art in history are often political. Picasso's Guernica.
That is a very specific example, buddy. I could talk about David and Goliath and all the frickin' Italian sculptors that have nothing to do with politics and everything to do with religion and beauty and the virtues and a better life.
I mean, is that saying the art is political, or it was inspired by politics?
This is basically inspired by war.
That's not making it political. I don't know.
Not to mention it's frickin' cubism, so good luck interpreting it. So...
I would.
Clearly that horse thing is the Republican Party.
The slug.
I would argue if you dig deep enough into understanding what socialism really does, not the surface stuff, but what they actually believe and how they operate, they are anti-virtue. It's all surface without substance, and it is to destroy substance of everything else, so that there is only this surface disguise left. And that is wrapped into different disguises, like, oh, we're just an economic theory. Oh, we're just for the liberation of these or that people, and that class of people. And oh, we're just here for human rights, when they do the exact opposite. So deep down, if they are anti-virtue, which you can consider, okay, that is about religion, then it's just then even the claim that it's political would be a scam, because it's on this most basic level of the essence of good religion versus bad religion, which is about virtue and nothing else. Which is, whether you agree that that is what religion is about, that is also what philosophy is.
Well, the idea of making art in any capacity has all kinds of inspirations. You could say war is definitely a powerful one, or...
I mean, I was going to say, you could stretch this to just how many...
Well, yeah.
Like, especially these eras, like the World War II era, the Vietnam War era, like the Vietnam inspired how much music and...
Exactly. And
movies.
And with Picasso especially, he's the kind of guy who would run out of his house or run to a restaurant or back to his restaurant because he ate a fish. He's like, oh my God, I got to paint that because, his muse attacked him. So he has to go and paint a fish or a chair. So it doesn't, that's just Picasso how he was. Compare that to...
And that's good. That's a good trait for an artist.
Oh yeah, with the bomb...
If you have that in you, it's Terry Pratchett described it as being hit by an inspiration particle.
I'm not...
They're always flying through the universe, and that sometimes one hits you, and you have to then translate it immediately, because it is not going to stay. It travels through you, and once it's out, the idea is gone, and the inspiration, the energy is gone.
I'm not attacking Picasso's techniques or what happened to him in his life, even though he's a bit of a womanizer, but that was like a specific bombing, I think, in Spain by...
It was like passion. He was inspired.
Yeah, I killed a bunch of people. He's like, oh my God, this is horrific. Let me stop what I'm doing. Because he's probably doing some other painting. He's like, I got to stop and do another painting. So that's fine. But we look at all the great classic works or the romantic works. They're all about desire and beauty and God and just... even the devil, hell and heaven, all these amazing concepts, and their muses were either themselves or the church or...
I mean, you brought up like Italy, and like those works were, because the Renaissance was...
Sure.
Correct my history knowledge, but like it wasn't really a time of that much war, right? So it's like...
Exactly. It was a rebirth of the classics in a new light. And that's talking and looking at the architecture and ideas of Rome and Greece. And
they were commissioned for some of these, but they were still inspired. They just made it off of like beauty, what they found, what ignited their passion. And then you have works like this that are directly inspired by, you know, the events of going on in the world, which ignites a passion in people, and they get...
Yeah, it's not just... war is definitely an inspiration, but that's like one of like 20 different major modes of behavior in humanity that cause us to change quickly. So, yeah, no, I mean, the writers were definitely inspired by wars. Hemingway's a popular one. So it depends on what kind of inspiration that particular artist at that time period was. And some were comedians. Some were making fun of these things. They were doing satires. They were doing mocking stories about politics in general because they hated the people in power. But turn of the century, a lot of people were influenced by Marx, and that's generally how it went.
How everything went bad.
Yeah.
I think I know what he's about to say, but this Picasso painting is a very weird, specific...
Yeah, no, he's not wrong, but he's limiting his explanation to, well, you know, a lot of inspiration came from war. It's like, yeah, so did everything else.
Beethoven's Symphony No. 3.
That's an even
Fritz
weirder
Lang's-
specific...
Yes, I was about to say, we're not going to talk about that, but I know what you mean, yeah.
Metropolis. F it. Rage Against the Machine. Hollywood has done this before.
Okay, but even with...
Predator.
What was Predator inspired by?
I don't know. But with music, there's lots of political music, as you know.
Yeah, and it's now Rage for the Machine.
I always like the Cranberries' Zombie. Like when you hear it, you're like, what the hell is this song even about? And even if you don't know, it's a good song. It has a good beat. It's not impossible to understand. Then you figure
it has
out...
true emotion in it.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of motivation, and you learn about the bombing of, I think it was the Irish, some sort of...
Yeah, that's something I didn't know that was what it had in it.
Yeah, it was some bombing and killed some kids. You're like, oh, that's horrific, but you don't need to know that to enjoy the music. So
yeah, I don't need to know. I mean, it wears it on its sleeve, but like, just how much Vietnam era music. I don't need to know the specifics of
like Fortunate Son, you know, that very...
Like they had a lot more.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of Beatles stuff. Yeah, I know.
I didn't know for the longest time what Silver Spoon meant in that song. I still enjoyed it.
What's that? Senator's son? What the?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's, again, lots of inspiration from human behavior, from nature in general. But to say, oh, the greatest works were political, it's like, and some of the even greater works were not political. So
yeah, and funny detail on the IRA, who was all about Irish independence from Britain. The IRA has been very quiet about Ireland being taken over by something else entirely, which maybe spells something about what the IRA was really about.
I feel like people forget that took place in the 90s, right? The IRA bombings, or is that?
It wasn't that long ago. And the tension was always there. The tension always remained.
I thought it was during World War II. I thought the
IRA.
No, that went on for forever. I know people who served during that time. Like still going through the streets and having to watch out for all the windows up there. That was crazy. It was well, 7 years ago I met the guy, and he was in his, I think, 60s. So you can run back 40 years from there. Would be the 80s, yeah.
I'm trying to remember that line that Data had in Star Trek that they took out in Irish television about IRA becoming a country or whatever. some terrorist.
IRA formed their own nation.
Something like that. They cut it
the
out.
Sad truth is that the IRA in the end were communists, and that means that if communism takes over, they don't care. They don't care if somebody else rules Ireland. It's only about communism, and it's basically similar to the Kurds. The Kurds don't really they say they care about Kurdistan, but really they want to make a communist state. And
another thing that people don't talk. That's still going on, right? With Turkey.
Yeah. Well, the Kurds are now trying to establish Kurdistan in Japan. That's another story. And the socialists in Japan are enabling it.
Oh, there it was. I found it. It's the Irish unification of 2024.
Irish reunification?
Oh, we were all hoping that would happen.
Yeah, who knew?
It was looking really good in 2024 for that to happen.
Data was right.
I mean,
No, it didn't happen.
I mean, I don't think Aliens had a political... Like, now that I think about Predator and Aliens, I guess, because Vietnam is so prevalent still, like, there's imagery inspired by Vietnam, I guess, with how Aliens and Predator go for it.
Anyway, we're almost done. He's going to ramble on about some movies, I bet.
Aliens. These beloved mainstream action movies were products of Americans'
Remember, it was also
reflection
based off a book.
Well, yeah, it's a little different. That was written. I remember Stallone talking about that, how he wanted to have... They had all this extra scenes, and the director was like, yeah, you're doing too much. This is too confusing to the audience. Got to cut it down. So what they ended up doing was a lot less than what they filmed.
The Vietnam. RoboCop, set in corporate-controlled Detroit, satirizes the inhumanity of unchecked capitalism. They Live by John Carpenter condemns consumerism and wealth inequality.
It's about a bunch of aliens.
No, it's not about wealth inequality. It's about society being run by a secret cabal of things pretending to be human that actually control everybody with psyops.
Yeah.
Which totally doesn't happen in real life.
and it has the best fight scene ever in Hollywood.
The best lines.
Some of the best lines. That fight scene is so cool. Like, you're like, oh my god, these guys are pummeling the shit out of each
I can't believe Keith David.
with Keith David. Isn't that awesome? He's like,
yeah, that's...
It's amazing. Everyone go watch Keith David They Live fight scenes on YouTube. It's great.
Watch all Carpenter movies.
These movies were about people's
Wait, what is
lives.
Scarface? What politics are in Scarface?
The drug cartel trade.
Really?
Criminality
I
bad?
guess,
Is it
yeah.
because he was from Cuba or something?
Yeah, I don't know.
They were examination of our world. They are classics.
I would say any piece of art is an examination of the world.
Jurassic Park isn't political. It's philosophy. It's science fiction.
It's science fiction.
The book
Thank you.
is about man's hubris, and it does it in a unique sci-fi way of
Exactly.
of this. Hammond is a million times different in the book, but in the book he's a dipshit industrialist who doesn't think about what he's doing, and there's all sorts of details in the book that don't make it in the film, but part of it is he's a cheapskate, and they under-design the park, and that's a big reason. It's like pride and arrogance, and you try to play God, and it blows up in your face.
And I do recall...
Just like socialism every time, and just like they overestimate what they falsely call AI all the time right now, and push into everything. And now our spell checkers don't work anymore.
I do recall when Dunn came on years back, and we watched that Jurassic Park critique by that guy who bought a book, who wrote a critique on Jurassic Park and published a book about it, and it was so bonkers.
He wrote a book?
Yeah, he wrote a book on...
As a critique of another book.
Of a movie. Well, I think it was the movie version, not the book itself. Maybe he did both. And it was so postmodern nonsense that we were just laughing our ass off every time he made a statement. It was so wild. I can't remember which episode we covered that, but it was absolutely crazy. because it was about it involved the trans movement, and I remember the last part they said, because
no, I think I know what you're talking about.
because
I have completely repressed the
oh,
memory.
this is amazing, because the seat buckle at the end of the movie was female to female. This was symbolic because because you have male and female seatbelt, right? You click together.
Yeah.
Well, because there was no male, or they couldn't figure out how to find the male seatbelt that trans.
The male seatbelt?
Yeah, the feminist.
Wait, wouldn't the male seat? Wait, because I know the scene. He's wrapping like the two. He wraps the cord. They couldn't find the male.
Yeah.
The male seatbelt is the thing that goes into the other buckle.
Yeah, so they couldn't find the male. The same analogy they gave with the frog DNA that had like oogenesis, meaning the female can just reproduce without needing the male. So they were this transhumanism message, and because the female to female seat buckle was tied together, meaning it could surpass the male. And you're like, what is that? A seat belt is surpassing who? What? It was this bizarre.
So it's a trans message where the trans dinosaurs get free and kill people.
The horrors of not controlling. I don't know. I know what the exact message was. It was so wild. Dunn was laughing his ass off the entire time. We were just like, I don't know what to do with this. This is too bonkers.
And I wanted to mention it, but Fred Nord already wrote it in the chat. The reboot of Jurassic Park, the Jurassic World movies, they completely lack everything that is relevant to this story. There's no hubris by the humans there. There's just we have figured it all out, but the dinosaurs just outsmarted us.
The dinosaurs are the actual villains they're the actual, at least in the first one. It's like you have a psychotic Joker dinosaur that's wreaking havoc on the park, and that's the villain's not man's own hubris. We have a bunch of movie monsters now. That's the thing I actually thought about recently, because the new one came out, is that even Jurassic, like the new World movies, there was like a genuine horror aspect to the older Jurassic Park films, and there's no horror in the newer ones. They just feel like
they
movie monsters.
They take horror tropey scenes and put a dinosaur in it.
That was Saurian Cinema, Gender in Jurassic Park from July 20th, 2020. Wow.
Oh, wow.
Episode...
I have completely forgotten, and I feel good about that.
Episode 68. Wow, that was a long time ago. Okay. Anyway.
I was going to say, even Jurassic Park 3 had scenes where the dinosaurs came off like horrifying, and it's like, it's the savagery of nature, and like the brutal savagery of nature, and you don't mess with it. And that's probably more because they weren't CGI bullshit, and they had actual animatronics, and it makes you feel like you're seeing, it's a robot, but you see a person be picked up by a giant dinosaur, and there's a whole different impact than seeing CGI.
Yeah, that, and because a wild animal is more, I would say, is more scary than over the top movie monster. That is the wild animal but betterer. Be more scared because stats increased. Like no, it's not the stats that scare me.
Where the dinosaur is like playing possum, and it's another genetically engineered raptor, and it's like pretending to sleep in its cage, and you have a stupid character open the cage and go in by himself, and then the raptor like winks to the audience like, oh, I'm playing dead, and it's just like it's such a, there's no horror, or like it completely takes away like any kind of like, oh, this savage, this brutal, and this feral animal is gonna rip this dude apart. It completely deflates that.
Anyway, let's see what he has to say. I don't know what the politics of Jurassic Park are specifically, but maybe I'll get into it.
Yet, when it comes to Godzilla, all we get is, oh, giant monsters are cool.
That's not true.
That's
The
something
newer-
that's been
no.
lacking in recent Hollywood movies.
The newer
Agreed.
MonsterVerse movies, at least the first one, they had a point about nature's balance. It wasn't just a giant monster, but like,
Yeah, but those felt just as in the ham-fisted political camp rather than anything else.
you know, yeah, you can argue that it's still not. Hey, it's just a fan film to see a giant monster.
That's just as with How to Train Your Dragon 2,
Well,
which was in the end just environmentalist preaching.
he was okay with it being a fan film for wrestling. So
Oh yeah,
why is it bad now?
yeah. And also,
Studios are so afraid of
intentional because Adam Wingard was Godzilla vs Kong was very much made
Oh,
as like
no.
a love letter to the Showa era films.
I did not expect him bringing up Ant-Man, because when we were talking about the injected politics, where it's just propaganda and the be better line, I wanted to mention, do you want because the Falcon and the Winter Soldier it was called, I believe, that 6-episode bullshit with not Captain America, where Black
You gotta
Captain.
do better, Senator. You gotta do better.
Yeah, that was the end. What people completely missed was that, I think it was in episode 1 or 2, where Black Captain America tells to his family that, oh, we don't deal with those people, or we don't like those people, and with those people, you are to understand white people, but whom he's really talking about is the bankers. And the bankers in the movie are all people with big noses played by people with big nose names. That is so that it's very strange that you have this veiled anti-Semitism in there all of a sudden.
So weird.
Which well, because you're just to understand, oh, capitalism bad and it's white people, because anytime it's bad it's white people, anytime it's good it's somebody else. And so that's one part of that. The be better is then the find the cherry on top that you get at the very end. And in Quantum Mania, it's even more ham-fisted, because if you didn't like the be better, well, Quantum Mania gives you this wonderful line by the professor guy. Oh, that we should orient ourselves more by the societal structure of the ants, or learn from the ants, which is something socialists love to say, because
we need to make society become a hive mind.
Yes, because ants or any hive insects are such a classless society where you're totally not born genetically into your specific job for life and can never get out of it. That's the utopian communist thing that they promise. Like, listen to them when they actually admit what they really want, which is exactly this eugenicist nightmare.
Okay, let's keep going.
I've never
Studios
seen
are set a politically divided audience that blockbusters have no bite. Somehow, reality itself has become a controversial topic, so much so that our movies don't even want to talk about it. Until
Wait, don't want to talk about what?
Yeah,
What do you mean?
I think
What was?
yeah.
I don't. Okay, now I don't understand. Maybe I missed it. Did he bring up Quantum Mania as not talking about politics? Because Morbius, I don't think had any in it. But Quantum Mania, I was just preaching.
Yeah,
that was sloganeering.
I think he did, because he was like, here's Godzilla 2014, here's Fallen Kingdom, they're just giant movie monster, there's no politics in them, and then he showed Marvel movies as being just superheroes, there's no...
Quantum Mania is sloganeering socialism.
Yeah.
See, but apparently nobody watched it, including him.
I haven't seen Fallen Kingdom either.
I mean, I can understand why you wouldn't watch it, because the MCU was dead already. Oh dear.
All right.
1 minute.
America has the guts to see itself in the mirror and examine itself, Hollywood Godzilla will never be a classic.
What is he?
Why?
What does exactly he want from
Yeah.
American Godzilla to self
He wants
assess
to look at
But-
itself in the mirror?
as a monster?
Better scripts.
Yeah, but do they want to give Godzilla some personality? Do they want the characters in Godzilla to be more?
Well, he does in the MonsterVerse films because they're about Godzilla, and they give him more of a. It's all the MonsterVerse is all about how he's the Titan, the Alpha Titan, keeping balance to the world, and he's kind of, and they give him personality because, he's kind of just in it to do his. There are points where he's like, I'm here to do my job. He's not concerned with other stuff. Like he said, because he thinks it won't be a classic because they don't touch on politics enough.
Have a self-assessment of the characters in the story to be more, I don't know, hero's journey-ish, to have more arcs, to go on a quest to do something. Like, what do you want him to do, or what do you want the characters to do? Is Godzilla just in the background? Is he just sort of like the thing that's the main, the A plot, and you have like 3 B plots of characters finding themselves? Like, what do you want?
That is some of the MonsterVerse films of 3 B plots, and Godzilla is in the background fighting something.
Yeah, but is that it? Is that all he wants? That's fine.
Well,
you could say that.
What did he say? He said something about in the mirror.
I want to talk about it. Until America has the guts to see itself in the mirror and examine itself, Hollywood Godzilla will never be a classic. Remember the question at the beginning of the video? Now you know the answer. If your anime style is copied from someone else's, you will always be an imitation.
Okay.
That's fine.
But if you can derive an anime style from real life, then you become a master.
No, not necessarily. What does that even mean? That's like saying...
Develop your own.
Yeah, but if I develop something from real life, it's like, well, where else would you develop it? Oh, you can't copy someone else. It's like, why not? That's part of the life.
Well, you would still be in the general art style. The thing is that the question is, how does Hollywood do its own Godzilla without just being a copy? I think that's that's the question that he's trying to put out.
I actually kind of like they didn't just do, because they do it in their own way, but they don't just, like 2014 wasn't just a remake copy of the original that was just hitting it you in the face with, hey, nuclear war is bad. And like they want more of it. He wants more of that, because like it's always the films they hold up as, like the films he held up as the classics is -1, the original, and Shin Godzilla, and he specifically points out they're all heavily political.
Well,
I would say the example in the opposite direction would be Star Wars Visions, first season. Where Japan does its takes on Star Wars, and some of the things in there are just nonsensical. They don't actually work with Star Wars if you take Star Wars as its serious bubble. While others in there are just absolutely perfect and on point, and could be taken into the canon and define it, like the one with I think it was the Ninth Jedi. The story where it's before the Jedi Order had been re-established in the distant past, and there's a swordsmith who makes some new things. All the Visions things are heavily inspired by Japanese folklore and their cultural stories, as well as their cinematographic elements that they like to use. And that one just fits perfectly in many ways. And that would be, I think that would be a genuine take with substance. While the others are just either imitations or just fun nonsense. And the US Godzilla would fall into fun nonsense, but with so much budget in it, while still being hollow. The Star Wars Visions things were at least not hollow, or didn't feel hollow.
I'm trying to think of how Japan is as a culture, and there's lots of signs of them learning about the world, like an artist or a chemist or whatever, and saying, I like this, I'm going to do my own version of that, or I'm going to master that thing and bring it to Japan and see if it sells. And, we talk about the two famous brands in Japan for whiskey, for example, Nikka and Suntory. One of the guys who went to Scotland learned how to do scotch. Says, okay, this is scotch. This is the world famous whiskey. I'm going to bring it to Japan. He did a great job manufacturing, because it takes a few years to make whiskey. He did a great job making Scotland-style scotch or Scottish whiskey. But the Japanese palate couldn't like it because Japanese palate was light and refined.
Mm-hmm.
So he had to change gears to make a whiskey for the Japanese palate. And that's easy because once you go from scotch, which is the strongest, smokiest, richest flavor whiskey or style of whiskey I could think of.
Well, the islands.
The Isle of Islay.
Inland Scotch is a very lovely thing.
Even the Highland stuff is pretty smoky. So it depends on the distiller, but he went there.
There are exceptions.
Of course, but he went there and tried to bring it to Japan, and Japan didn't like it for whatever reason. So he said, okay, let me make a simpler, cleaner, fruitier, whatever version of whiskey. And Japan went, wow, this is great. And a whole culture was born, and there's another guy who studied that, and he made Suntory distiller and all these things. So
they're so expensive.
They made amazing scotch. So there's nothing wrong with copying or learning from a school to do, or whatever you want to learn on yourself and practice yourself, and imitating as much as possible. But if there's no one to buy it, it doesn't make a difference. So to me, what he's saying is, like, I would buy or I would watch this kind of show, but we've had decades of Godzilla movies where, the people love the goofiness of that style.
It's just a weird. I find it just a weird statement of just, hey, Japanese Godzilla is specifically about this.
Yeah.
When you've got over 30 Japanese movies where Godzilla, like, which Japanese Godzilla? Because again, it's something that bugs me because it's such a huge franchise where the original director was like, Godzilla. He's like, Godzilla is at the end of the day a representation for the force of nature, and the dynamic that has with humankind.
Yeah, but that's like one movie.
Japanese guys, but like it's just like he picks out of this huge franchise, and a lot of people do. The other guy did that too, the Skipper guy.
Oh.
Well, they pick these 3 movies that have this critical acclaim and say, that's the Japanese Godzilla.
Exactly. Like
even though Godzilla has been a ton of stuff and it was under Japan, and
like I think of Godzilla. Is Godzilla versus Mothra about life? Like, really?
Godzilla,
it's a love story.
It's got an corporate anti-greed message.
Okay.
Basically, that was also made by Honda.
Yeah, I don't think even the 70s and 80s, I don't think those films are really philosophical, make you think sort of movies. They're for fun. They have themes.
The one exception is Godzilla versus the Smog Monster, but that's not so much philosophical as it is an LSD acid trip.
Well, yeah, there's all kinds of, like, Son of Godzilla. I'm like, what the hell is that?
that's just like a kid's story about family.
Yeah. So you could do extra themes, but at the end of the day, the genre is for a specific audience, and that is young kids, young adults who like watching wrestling.
Speaking of acid trips, the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have come out again in hardcover.
Oh.
The original, the really dark ones. Go get
The
them.
one where they all had red bandanas.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It looks amazing.
It's violent, I bet. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get to read into them yet, though, because, man, these things are expensive, and sadly, they all still have the wrapping on in the comic shop, so I can't just take a peek.
You should read the newer. You should read the new. It's kind of newer, like the one that the original writers came back and made, called Ronin.
Okay.
I
Cool.
think that's what it's called. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle TMNT Ronin. That's really good.
Interesting. All right,
Yeah.
let's
Also,
keep going.
there's a new Captain Future comic hardcover, also $30.
Really?
It's amazing,
Okay.
beautiful. Get it.
All right, let's keep going. We got one more super chat from Zimzilla99. Thanks again for the 20. To go mask off for him, he wants American Godzilla to overtly criticize America, its wartime
Yeah,
actions, foreign policy, etc., since Godzilla is a foreign IP born from America committing wrongs on a non-Western people. I don't know.
I do get that vibe a bit.
said-
Yes, I think that's the correct interpretation.
Okay.
I was going to say earlier, because I remembered, because he said at the start when he was talking about 54 how it was made in, like, the political message
Right.
was made in like against America, and it's just like, it's weird to say that because Toho and Honda himself, they were inspired by American monster movies for Godzilla, like King Kong mainly, but also Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. Like, and it is true, like, from Toho's perspective, they were inspired, like, Toho wanted more of a, like, more of like a regular monster movie inspired by those, but it was Honda that pushed for, like, have more of a meaning. Like, he didn't really make it it wasn't like this huge, like, from the instant, like, he could conceive it, he made it in response to America. It's just like he wanted more of a message out of it.
Yeah, being influenced by American monster movies and influenced by the nuclear tests in the 50s are separate. They could have been by Denmark and France or something like that.
Oh no.
Yeah. So
But
you can make any movie based on any multiple kinds of influence.
yeah, the way I think the reflection would properly work as Godzilla in America, or the American version of Godzilla, would be the nuclear tests of the Americans coming back to haunt them. Not because they get bombed now by nuclear bombs, but because they're, as Japan was struck by Godzilla, it would cause it to come to them, or they would produce. But to do that more overtly, and which has nothing to do with any war crime, would require a stronger reflection of the American spirit upon itself. And that humbleness, humility, is America doesn't have that yet, because it hasn't been humbled yet.
It certainly didn't have that in the 98 film, where it was like, it was all about, see the American military blow.
Oh yeah, but that kind of stuff is always just more comical, because you have the exact same thing happening in The Iron Giant. That's more the comedic effect, but the Monster Hunter movie, the horrible one, also has the same thing where the military is actually useless here, but that's not really the humbling itself moment for America. That's just for you to see, big horror monster being big horror monster, but the little hero can save the day with nonsense. The real problem is that due to the lack of humility, humbleness. I have to look up which of these two is the right one, or whether they're actually the same. Due to the lack of that, the American spirit, the American people, are still so arrogant and caught in hubris that the socialist subversion can still keep going for now almost 100 years, or maybe more. And then they're still not cleaning it up. They still don't see it because they still think too high and mighty of themselves that it could never happen to them because they have all the guns. Well,
you mean like a nuclear attack can never happen?
No, it's
Like
it goes into it.
Godzilla into it.
Is it? Yeah. Well, it's for the same reason. It's for the same reason that they can't make a proper Godzilla movie for the same reason that they are easy to subvert still.
I remember that Skipper guy brought up almost the same kind of point of saying American Godzilla can't get it right because they're not allowed to critique. He said like American Godzilla films were American military propaganda because they didn't show the military as the problem or something. Like they weren't allowed to, like, because it was a Hollywood film. They're not allowed to do that or something.
You don't need to show the military as the problem because in that kind of scenario, the military is just doing the bidding of the government. You don't need to bring in personal atrocity of one soldier doing something he shouldn't do. The American war problem is on the political level.
Yeah. Because you can't have Godzilla without the nuclear angle, and it's like.
Yeah. All right, we are.
What he said specifically about the it's just like what he said about reflective in the mirror. Like that makes sense why he holds up like Shin Godzilla. Because out of all of them, that's like a direct, just total critique of the Japanese government.
Right. Yeah.
The way you bring it in is you have the elements of the nuclear testing within the country of the US, and you have natural disasters that wreak havoc, not because they're natural disasters, but because the politics are so absolutely corrupt that flood damage can even happen where the same level of flooding causes zero problems in other countries, like the Netherlands, Germany, Denmark, because we have to deal with these not every day, but on a very regular basis, or the strong wind damage, because Americans love to build their houses out of matchsticks instead of proper materials. That is something that you can address with Godzilla in America. I think that was the good idea about, or one of the good ideas about Guillermo del Toro's kaiju movie. What was Pacific Rim? Where, humanity is trying to adapt by building these giant walls, which don't work, but they at least try to adapt towards the natural disaster. Does that make sense?
I think you cut out there, Whisp, for the last 3 seconds.
Yeah, I think I get it.
Oh, damn it.
You definitely wouldn't see Hollywood do something like GMK.
No.
Or hey, it's a giant ghost monster of all the people the government has killed.
Oh yeah, no. Little goofy.
Great movie, great title.
All right, we got 1 minute left.
The same applies to Godzilla. To realize the series' full potential, we have to look to the real world.
That is really... Who is to say what's the full potential of a Godzilla movie or a series or an episode or whatever you want to characterize Godzilla as? You can make a romance work. You could make a buddy cop film work. You could do all kinds of stuff.
You could make a movie where he's a eldritch horror.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think I'd say Shin Godzilla realized the full potential of that. if that's what you mean, because there's so many different Godzillas,
Yeah.
and the majority of them were made by Japan. So which is the
Yeah, I don't. I'm not saying you could throw it into any genre will be successful, but who is to say within this series, within this genre, within these characters, within the things you like, why do you think this is its full potential to say, oh, we got to look at like modern day politics to make Godzilla awesome? It's like, no.
It sounds like he wants. It does sound like what he favors here is the political messaging that Godzilla has in. I mean, even -1, I wouldn't even say there's a political message to it. But like that's clearly what he sees as like what makes him stand out as like classics.
The -1 really doesn't have much of that.
It's a very personal war story.
But well, we could get personal because one of his patrons is the Templin Institute, which is a raging leftist, and
the Templin Institute.
Yeah, and well, the America critique by Yang Zhang, whatever. I don't know. Maybe he is trying to be neutral.
He's Canadian, apparently.
Oh, a Canadian Chinese man critiquing America.
From Canada.
That's not, not the best. Anyway, let's keep going.
So here is an idea.
Okay.
What if Godzilla represents Nazi?
What? Why?
See?
Why are we doing this?
Final math, 3 seconds.
Why are we doing?
Back.
How did we get here?
Go back 10 seconds. What happened?
I skipped.
Yeah.
All right, try again.
Final minute of madness.
You will always be an imitation. But if you can derive an anime style from real life, then you become a master.
Okay.
The same applies to Godzilla. To realize the series' full potential, we have to look to the real world.
The series'
so
full
here
potential.
is an idea. What if Godzilla represents Nazism? Once a significant force in the US in the 1930s, it was defeated, but then regrew.
A significant force in the US?
I don't know.
No,
Nazis
it was not. There were lots of
in the US.
There were lots of German nationals in the US that the Nazi Party tried to propagandize into joining their cause, but they all rejected. And all over the world, the expat Germans, they didn't want to hear anything from the Nazi Party because they saw it as nonsense, because they were integrated and they knew all of their, to them foreigners, they were in their foreign countries, they all knew these people, and so like they're such just good normal people like everybody else.
Okay, but what he's doing here is he's taking the genre it's from, which is destructive or destruction genre or the end of the world genre, and he's turning it into World War genre. Like he wants it like to be this massive sort of concept. I think.
Ginga, don't call for stream memes while the best thing is happening.
That's the thing I don't like. Why do we? I don't like the idea that Godzilla can only be considered serious and good if we just keep hitting back on World War II and World War II era Japan. That's because he's talking about. He just said what. Why would Godzilla be a Nazi? He'd be a Godzillasaurus supremacist. What is he talking?
Look. Since Godzilla is about an internal threat, kind of, sort of.
Sure.
Shouldn't it rather be about communism?
Well, okay.
Well, it's also that's not a represent. The Godzilla movies do that already because they highlight the relationship Godzilla has with Japan and how he keeps coming back.
We're thinking in terms of World War II and fascism. So we have Italian, we have German, and then you could argue imperialism.
Oh, if German, if the Nazis were fascists, then all socialists are fascists.
Well, I'm not trying to be, splitting the hairs with nomenclature. I just want to say if he's taking this definition of Nazism or using it as a base, then he could have chosen Japanese imperialism. That'd been perfect. Use that.
Godzilla has represented that at times, actually.
Well,
because
he wasn't paying attention.
I mean,
Just use that.
I guess if you stretch, because that's what he really didn't talk enough about GMK, considering what this video is supposed to be about.
Yeah. It's keep it within, like, every series exists within a genre because it is desired. So Bond is a very specific series in the spy thriller genre. It's not it's its own thing, but it's still within the genre. So when you say Godzilla, you're like, okay, depending on the production house, you can say the flavor of Godzilla. So Monsterverse, a lot different than Shin Godzilla.
A lot different from -1, where he's like the most evil he's ever been.
Yeah, so if you want to make that argument, you say, well, what genre are we in now, and what content can we expect? Because you could just pick any topic, and say, how about Evangelion? You know, he's a big monster. He's angelic. There's a prophecy, and there's a bunch of big robots fighting. It's like, yeah, you could do that, sure, but why? You have big robots already. You already have all kinds of stories like that. Why would you want that extra layer of narrative with weird nonsense behind the scenes and a bunch of prophesized children running around in giant robots? Like, why would you want that? What's the point?
Why would Godzilla represent Nazis?
Well, yeah, that's the joke.
That's a good question.
Like, what does he mean? Like, I don't know what angle, because if you're saying, hey, the socialist collectivist angle, Godzilla has always been a loner. He's always been this singular...
No. He represents the devastation the collectivism
Okay.
brings.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's like the ant hive itself.
All right. Let's keep
It's
going.
the anthill.
See what he has to say.
Terrorizing the modern-day U.S. What if Godzilla represents the American foreign policy in the Middle East?
Okay, that's
That's a lot more palatable than, hey, what if Godzilla was a Nazi?
well.
Yeah, because they never made it to America as an active force.
How would Godzilla bring about regime change?
Okay, because if it's just he's meant to represent the destruction,
I get.
then you could make it analogous to, you could just because he represents the destruction a nuke brings in the original
Okay,
movie.
so
Could he represent Islam with how often that explodes?
You could represent
God.
the destruction a bombing campaign, and I'm trying to help him out here.
yeah, it's like
So do I!
You know what this is? This is like, well, what if the tornado in SimCity goes across the east side of what would I do to rebuild?
In my Godzilla fan fiction, he fights the Nazis in America.
Yeah, it's either the natural effect of an earthquake, a seaboard just getting washed over, a hurricane. Either way, you're going to destroy a part of the city. So it's like, all right, what does that represent? Corruption in government. You're like, what? What?
Okay,
Regime change.
He is a giant fire-breathing monster. Okay, the destruction can represent something, but why specifically would him destroying, like leveling a city, represent Nazis?
Yeah, it's stupid. It's really stupid. And please do not ever think of giving him like an armband or some bullshit. Like,
Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. A Godzilla-sized arm bracelet. Like how they gave Kong that giant monster-sized gauntlet in the new movie. Give him a giant arm, like a headband. That's what.
And he puts it on his. It's time to fight, or whatever he's gonna say.
It's not like, because he originally didn't have a beam, like it was never a beam. It was a vapor because it was meant to represent. It was atomic breath.
Yeah.
It was.
Mhm.
It looked like a vapor because it was breath, and what it did was meant to look similar to the destruction of a nuke, and then it became a beam because that's cool.
Yeah.
And then.
Spoilers, all breath is atomic.
All right.
Yeah.
One super chat, one more from Zimzilla, and then we keep on finishing this video. Godzilla 1954 was never a criticism of America. The original novel overtly has a character. They say they want to study Godzilla's ability to survive the H-bomb in order to save lives. be a form of war reparations to the world. That's cool. I didn't know that.
The original novel?
And that is really just a psyop because the H-bomb tests in reality were just made to destroy Godzilla that was created by the standard nuclear test. But you're not supposed to know that.
It's all a trick.
All right, we're almost done.
Monster of America's own making. What if Godzilla represents the COVID pandemic? It marches from China towards the US.
Okay.
Oh, you mean government corruption and pharmaceutical scams? That's a hell of an angle.
What if Godzilla took the vaccine?
I would be dead.
Well, listen to this. It marches from China towards the U.S., causing a disaster made worse by... We're going to deny a giant 5-story... What is it? 5 kilometer? How big is Godzilla? He's huge, right?
Oh yeah, and then they would tell us to hug a Godzilla because to not be racist towards the Chinese.
You can't shut down travel for Godzilla.
It's like, oh, by the way, he's not real. It's like there goes all of like San Francisco. Like, okay, what happened to San Francisco?
Here, wear this little thing in front of your face in order to protect yourself from Godzilla.
This is so stupid.
Yeah, right.
Like, how does this symbolism work? Like, what do you want us to do?
Godzilla atomic breath gives people COVID.
The face mask will protect you from 0.02 millimeters of radiation.
They have to make a giant face mask and put it on Godzilla.
Yeah, we all have to.
Him from
So he'll suffocate.
We'll run around in radioactive hazmat suits, and you can only have the $200,000 version from whatever the.
So how is any of this?
I don't know.
The self-reflective look in the mirror he said earlier.
I don't get this. Like, what are you gonna? Yeah, like, oh, maybe it represents this. You're like, okay, then you have to manufacture an entire plot surrounding a pandemic or regime change or World War II scenario.
Yeah.
And you're like, then what? Okay, so a monster comes out of the sea and what? Blows up
Also, they did that. They
Pearl
did
Harbor?
That.
Like
Godzilla,
what?
They do that. They already did the whole. Well, never mind. I don't know why I'm hearing this COVID idea. Like,
it's not.
Like, really, this isn't
brainstorming. It's just brain farting on his part.
It's like, hey guys, let's have a brainstorm session about modern representation.
What if Godzilla tripped and hit his head and he became bad, and then that was a representation of online radicalization,
or Alzheimer's or something stupid? You're like, what?
That's another just thing. You just want Godzilla to represent destruction, and then you want to just label that.
Well, okay.
My kind of.
Why can't Godzilla just represent inflation?
All right. Well, this is getting retarded because he's just randomly choosing conflicts that have nothing to do with the subject material. But because it's a big, scary target, you could just have it represent, like, imagine Superman, but he's wearing a giant red cross. He represents the Doctors Without Borders or something. It's like, okay, he's Superman. He doesn't heal people. He lasers them or beats them up. What are you talking about? Like, you can do that, but it's dumb. It's silly. So why is he doing? He should know better if he's such a film critic and he knows about narratives and he knows about symbolism. And I would hope he knows about Godzilla.
I want Godzilla to represent the topical thing when he's been, a general representation of war and destruction.
War would be perfectly acceptable, but maybe the Vietnam War. Why was that bad? Well, we didn't know when to pull out. We didn't know when to go in, and we didn't know what to do when we got there. It's like, yeah, that's a great setting. Use that. And that's pretty much what Godzilla is. It's like, oh, what do we do with this? Because this giant force of nature. We have no idea. Let's try this. Oh, didn't work. He's angry.
Yeah,
or, oh, shit. For the
most part, he just represents a what's the word? A wide sweeping net of nature's wrath. It's never been an ultra specific. He represents this virus. He represents this political movement. It's never, even in the original movie, it was the wide-reaching effects of nuclear weapons. That's what the damage that causes, and the threat, and that's not.
And it would be pointless to just change his background or create a new Godzilla that, he came about through the COVID mutation pandemic or something.
He was created by a Nazi scientist.
Yeah, it's like that doesn't change any. It doesn't help the narrative anyway. He's the same thing. He's a big scary monster.
This was all serious. This was all serious suggestions on his part.
Yeah, because he's like, what if the Americans did it? It's like, okay, so what? It's the same thing.
All his suggestions are, is he trying to say America was responsible for the damage of COVID?
Well,
it's all like America themed.
We're gonna find out soon if we get our way with the tribunals of Mr. Fauci, but
that'll be tight.
We don't know if that's happening yet, but we'll find out. Anyway,
I feel the need to mention, because it's been more obvious, there's a lot of Western first names with Chinese last names in patrons. He might be a CCP shill,
Per Johnson,
but a very, very decent one. That's very subtle.
okay. Well, we're almost done.
He's in Canada.
Yeah, he's in Canada. That's right.
Noel is a patron from Kiwi Farms.
Great.
They're made worse by denialism. Is it cringe? Does it make you uncomfortable?
What?
Are you strong enough to think about the hard questions in life?
By contemplating the symbolism of a stupid setting for Godzilla. No, I don't go to bed contemplating that.
That was so. I could see the shit-eating grin on him when he said, "Is it cringe? Does that make you uncomfortable?" That's good.
It's like, your ideas suck.
Really,
yes, I'm cringing.
My idea is good because it made you uncomfortable.
Everything you said was garbage. Yes, it does make me hurt. Thank you. Oh my god. Oh, he just ends it.
Well, thank you. Oh, is that his other? When women play male characters.
Oh god.
Thinks about that.
I'm good. Yeah, no, I'm good. I think I could figure out what's going on there. Whew.
Oh, he has a Journey Through China video series.
Yeah, good for him.
That building is fake. It looks like shit in daylight.
All right, let's see what we got.
It's just a lot of LEDs.
The stream memes time. Give us some comedy. I think I've got the wrong Godzilla. What is that? Wow, that looks like a mutated T-Rex of some. Yeah, what is that? I don't know. We got Big Guy and Rusty the Boy Robot. Okay.
Reminds me of DC characters.
Interesting. That's a weird looking.
Oh no.
That's not. I hope that's not what I think it is. It looks awfully like something I know. It looks like a cross between Astro Boy and Leisure Suit Larry.
I think the robot's a robot too.
Okay.
You want to talk about full potential? That's where Godzilla reached it with that dropkick.
Whoa! Whoa! Zoom. Incredible Hulk issue 407 by Peter David. Nice.
Of course.
Peter David. And I'm not going to read all that, but old Nessie. Godzilla. Okay, thanks, Peter David. What we got here? There he is. Takeshi's. If you guys know what Takeshi's Castle is, it's basically a giant game show.
The best game show.
Was Squid? What shit?
Is this a remake? What is that? A movie? What is this?
What, the Godzilla thrown in the pyramid?
No, I'm looking at Takeshi's Castle poster. It looks like a remake. I don't know. Maybe there's a remake. What do we got here? All right, looks good. Is that Kong? Yeah, it's Kong.
Kong body flip. Wrestling.
On the pyramids. Of course, on the pyramids.
It was fun.
Bonk.
I love that. I love when they do, hey, look, this is how big they look compared to
Yeah, I know.
real life stuff.
Goofy as hell.
Also, I'm not joking. That was a real idea. Well, they wanted Godzilla to fall in love with a robot.
With Metropolis robot?
That looks like, yeah, I wanted to say that looks like Metropolis.
Yeah.
It was called The Bride of Godzilla, and they almost made it.
Nice eyeballs there. That's interesting. Takeshi's Challenge. Okay.
Grilled Mormons?
Oh my god.
Okay.
That looks like Zelda 2. Or
Mm-hmm.
it looks exactly like Zelda 2.
You didn't have that many colors back then.
No. Hey, that's a nice
But look, the shop on the left.
yeah.
Grilled Mormon.
Oh god. Either way. Nice photographs, whoever these ladies are.
Yeah, and there's even human women too.
Toho producers.
Zilla regrets music collab with P. Diddy for 98 film. I told him to go with Blue Oyster Cult. Oh. Okay.
Zilla regrets that movie.
All right. That's 33 seconds I'm going to watch later. Here's another.
Copyright claimed anyway.
Yeah. What's going on here?
He peaked. Body slam.
Oh no!
That CGI doesn't look fun.
All right. All art is political. I hate escapism and feel the need to shove my politics and everything. Yeah, just replace politics with my thing, my fetish, my ex, my religion. Doesn't matter. That's all it is. Run! It's Godzilla! It looks like Godzilla, but dude, international copyright laws. It's not. But still, we should run like it's Godzilla. Though it isn't. Ah!
Beautiful.
You know what I find way funnier the part in Lost World where they have a specific shot of Japanese tourists running from the tourists.
Dinosaur Joker is actually a thing, really. Oh. What was it, the new thing? Aztec Batman coming out next year? I was like,
Aztec Batman with Aztec, with what, Conquistador Joker?
Aztec Batman is the dumbest thing ever.
I couldn't even watch it. I was like, this is, I don't, like, in principle, my brain just shut off. I'm like, nope.
Let's protect the child sacrifices.
Oh, God.
Bruce's parents were the ones sacrificed, and that's his backstory.
Super Shark, bikinis, bullets, and big bites.
But then he would side with the conquistadores.
Now we have... what the hell is that? Are those wheels? Are those ankle joints?
Those are foot wheels.
I don't know what that is. It looks so silly because it's so...
It looks like a sci-fi movie.
Well, it's so low poly, or like just all boxes, and then all of a sudden you get these really detailed gears for joints, and I'm like, what the
They
hell?
copy-pasted.
They feel like that, yeah. Anyway. What's this? I can't even read that. And it could house... What? If for you, and it could house was and you,
I
for
did
it
have a
was
stroke.
to be should you for 10,000, would you do it?
I have a joke now. I feel it.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah. My forehead is itching.
I took that seriously. I was like, oh, never mind.
I know the story behind that Godzilla picture now too.
Really? He is.
A bunch of Japanese delinquents stole the Heisei. So, like, the original Heisei Godzilla suit was in a warehouse, and Toho is shit at security, and a bunch of Japanese delinquents just stole this huge Godzilla suit out of the warehouse, and it actually made like international news, and then they just left it on a beach, and that's how they got it.
Original TMT Mirage Comics, run by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. Fun fact, Eastman and Laird reunited in 2020 as co-author TMNT The Last Ronin under was it IDW Publishing. Nice.
Yeah, and they're making an entire series right now.
That looks like the classic cover. But it's animated for some reason.
Yeah, the animation doesn't look good. Looks...
Why is
I don't
only
want
one
to
of
say
them
it.
not moving?
That is a turtle doing... I don't know what it's doing.
It's winding up for the final smash.
Oh. It looks so goofy. Here we got Who's this?
Eminem.
Is it Eminem? Oh, it is Eminem. Wow.
With AI generated looking Godzilla's behind him.
I wasn't sure what's going on there.
Is that what Eminem looks with hair and a beard?
Yeah, I guess so.
He's in the
Horrible.
new Happy Gilmore.
Oh my God.
He looks Arab.
Was hoping for a ninja. That didn't work out. Oh. Okay. What we got here?
I know Fire Breath is pretty cool.
What is it? Oh, there's Nazi flags.
It's Mein Führer, Godzilla.
And he's just in there.
Mindzilla.
Mindzilla.
Oh God. Anyway, that was weird.
That was a video. That was a video I didn't pay much attention to till the very end.
Yeah, the last few minutes were a bit goofy.
Every time.
Starts off okay, artsy fartsy. Yeah, okay, he's an art buff. He likes his movies, and then you're like, wow, you don't understand what you're talking about.
I want to AI generate some Godzilla pictures and just type Godzilla Nazi and see what I get.
Well, even the idea of having American wartime scenarios symbolize Godzilla, I'm like, why would you want that? Like, how would that? What's the point?
You know, I think these final 2 minutes of insanity all these videos have, AI could not write that up.
No, they would stop and say this is stupid, and they'd pick something better.
They definitely wouldn't have the comedic timing of that.
They'd have like 100 options. They just choose none of them and go, yeah, we can't do this. There's no good ideas. Oh boy. Well, that was a video. I'm glad we covered it because I've never heard of them, so it's good to know. But wow, I feel like I'm missing like 60% of the ideas behind what he wants to share.
I think this is a decent channel to keep covering because half the things he says seem decent, and then there's the weird stuff.
Then there's a loss, like there's a lack of intelligence, or there's a lack of just focus on the actual topic. And he stayed in the ballpark. He was still talking about Godzilla, but it was like, why are you bringing up Nazism? Like, what does that have to do with anything? And why does it have to represent? Why are you using symbolism as a major component?
Why did you not notice the political propaganda in Quantum Mania when it was literally thrown in your face? Verbatim, with a brick and a sledgehammer.
Why do you have to make Godzilla modern? Like, what's the value? Like, why?
Well, why do you? I think the general, to sum it up, is he's like, American Godzilla can't be a classic because it's not tackling this political side.
That's the problem with these guys' titles and premises. They start with this concept and their brain just goes off, and you're like, okay, again, still talking about the topic, but
that was ultimately a very similar point to the other guy, Skipper, because he was just saying American Godzilla doesn't get it and it's not good because the original Japanese,
the first
-1, they are the peak because the political aspect. That's just,
I know.
As someone who's watched a majority of the franchise, I think it's stupid.
I'm sure we could choose some of the drama with the characters, whether it's a survival story or a love story or whatever, and go, well, this is really nice because it gives you a nice transition between the destructive nature and horrors of Godzilla, and then you have this nice human element. You can make all kinds of silly arguments of B plots being they should do more on the side, sort of. They should have more characters doing other things. It's like, yeah, I like Mad Max 2 as well, but no, anything more would just be overkill. You don't need to do that.
Well, they do that. They did that. People complained about that a bit in the MonsterVerse films because you have this one group of characters we like to follow, and then we have the kid characters we don't like.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's like, hey, I just want to. And then you have the other people who are like, I just want to follow Bryan Cranston and Ken Fujinabe around, and they died.
Anyway, guys, thanks for the video. I wouldn't ban the guy. We just check one of his other videos out. See if it's
No,
worth our
yeah,
time.
the opposite.
Yeah, it's not driving me crazy. It's just the ideas are goofy at the end, at least. So, thank you for the suggestion. Keep the suggestions coming and the voting going. We'll be talking to you soon. Have yourself a good Monday, or what's left of it. Good night.
Good night.
Oh, it's Monday. Good night.
Well,
It's a manic Monday.
yeah.
Oh, time has gotten away from me.
Summer is going
Wish
fast.
it was Tuesday.
This is